So you're out of school, you're applying for jobs, you are not exactly sure what to do. And maybe you've been searching for jobs, you've been seeing different graduate trainee programs online. Yeah. So a lot of graduate trainee programs have started. By started, I mean most of them are at interview phase or documentation and all of that. Yeah, so you've been saying it, but you don't know what it is. Maybe you've applied, maybe you did not apply because you weren't exactly sure what it is. So this video is going to talk about graduate training programs all the way from application down to getting a full-time offer, right? So I'm going to just be talking about what it's all about, the expectations, answering some questions that have come up over time. Now, I have other videos about graduate training program, right? I have like two, three, four, five graduate training programs. You might want to watch those. I'll leave a link in the description box, leave a link up so that you can make your way to those videos, watch them, and familiarize yourself with them. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Chamaka Okewu. I am your host. Okay. And if you're a returning subscriber, you're very much welcome. I hope you can find then this series, my videos, interesting. Yeah, let me know in the comment section. So we'll just get right into the what's graduate training program. You know how straight out of school you want to apply for a job, a lot of jobs are going to ask you for experience. A lot of jobs are going to require that you have actual experience. Some would not even recognize your NYC experience. They want more, they want a whole lot more. Anything after NYC experience was regarded as professional, is what counts as your professional years of experience, right? So, graduate training program just sort of launches people, individuals into the corporate world because of the less restriction. Highly competitive, but it has a lot more. The criteria for entry is a bit less. Rigid, it's more entry level friendly, right? So we'll talk about the application, the interviews, and all of that. But yeah, I just wanted us to know to just take a look at what the program essentially is. So graduate training programs is majorly for graduates who have finished university, of course, finished their NYC and trying to launch their career into the corporate world. As the name implies, graduate training program, it means you're a graduate, you'll be trained and you would be offered a full-time job offer, right? That's how it works. So that's the graduate training program. Now let's start with the application. The very first thing about all the application is that you must have graduated from the university. After that, you must have completed NYC within a certain age. Now, even with graduation, some will tell you must your graduation year should not be later than um, but should not be before maybe 2018 maybe. So it means that if you graduated 2017 you're not eligible for some, right? So like that you have it. You also have NYSC must have completed NYSC by maybe the end of this year, by August this year, or must have finished must have served so and so year. So those restrictions are saying that maybe if you served in 2017, you're not eligible. You're only eligible from 2018. If your service year was from 2018 upwards, that is why you want to be as you want to read the minimum criteria as much as possible. You want to understand it because that's what they're using shortlisting. So away from that, you have age. For most of them, you have 24 years if you have a bachelor's degree, 26 years without a bachelor's degree. And I think a lot of them have actually um, increase the age, like 26, even with a bachelor's degree, just to accommodate a lot of people. Before, it used to be a whole lot more competitive. You have 22 years, and then you'll be wondering at what age should I finish school. 22 years, people are still struggling to enter the university. Yeah, some of them are still living in your first, second, third year. But yeah, that's it. Right now, you have 24, 26 years of age. A lot of companies run this graduate training program. Is very common with banks, Wema, Stanbic, Access, um, Zenith, UBA, like that, Polaris, Union, Echo Bank, FCMB. There are a lot of them. A lot of I think it's the easiest way banks recruit entry level into their corporate world. Another set is consulting firms, PwC, KPMG, Deloitte, EY. Yes, they all go through the sprouts, all right? That's another one. Another set of companies you will find will be fintechs, insurance companies as well. They also go through this process of getting graduate trainees into their program. So it's more like entry level. It's the same as an entry level job here. But while there are certain entry level jobs that requires experience, this does not require experience, because even as part of the criteria for application, you would see not your experience must not be more than 2 years. So it means that if you have over 2 years of experience, you're not classified as a graduate trainee anymore. You are not being classified as an experienced hire, right? That's the difference. So if you have experience, you're employed as an experienced hire, not as a graduate trainee. So that's it. Okay. So this gives you entry into the corporate world without any form of experience, as green as you are, as fresh as you are, because they're going to train you, yeah, in their training school. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn on the job. So that's just it. The next, so we've talked about that application. So this usually opens beginning of the year, I think twice a year for most companies. And that's because a lot of companies now have different cohorts. By cohort, I mean there's general stream. Some would run, it's just the way PwC or KPMG runs the tax, the audit, and all of that, right? So it's the same way with certain companies. You have the tech stream and then you have the general stream. Some even have the marketing stream. So with all those streams, you have them running all through the year. So this period, I know that a lot of companies, sometime in March, a lot were opening, and right now they are in the recruitment phase, interviews and all of that. I think they've even written interviews for some of them. Yeah, so that's how it works. So that's for application. So, which brings me to another point. When you're applying for a graduate training program, you want to meet the minimum criteria as much as possible, because that's what you'll be used. That's what they used to shortlist you. Now, is it possible that you meet all these criteria and you're not shortlisted? Yes, it's very, very possible. It's very, very possible that you meet it and you're not shortlisted. That's one. I don't know what the problem is, but what I do know is that so long as you meet all the minimum criteria in terms of age, in terms of when you graduated and all of that, you should be shortlisted. Now, is the because they shortlist a lot of people, it's why you have a lot of levels of a lot of levels of interviews, right? So they keep cutting people off at every stage. Also, when you're applying your CV, as much as possible, I know you're very green, you're very new, it cannot be blank. You must have done something. Maybe in school, you must have done something during NYC, you must have done something in church, something somewhere. You must have done something. And that is the thing that will today feed into your CV to make it look like, to make it easy for people to identify transferable skills, because you don't want to be look like somebody who just went to school, goes to church, but you have nothing, no extracurricular activity, nothing. Your CV cannot be that blank. There has to be something. Did you realize? Did you teach? Write it there. Look for coin it. Look for a way to write. You don't have to lie, because the last thing you want to do is lie on your CV. They'll catch you. Okay, and that will just mess up your whole experience. So you don't have to lie. But I'm saying that whatever thing you have done, no matter how little, there's a professional way to tweak it such that when they open your CV, they'll know that yes, so you thought, but when they see the responsibilities, things that you've done, it is a bit, well, elaborated would be the word I would use, right? It would look like yes, you've done something. Now for your interview, now after application comes the interview. Your interview phase, first stage for most companies is usually GMAT. Now, gym math is nobody's meat. It's hard. It's why I tell a lot of people that you have to practice even before the exam, even before you know they're gonna call you, because you know you're applying for various graduate training programs, right? Loosely practice. Just in your free time, just use it to practice this graduate training courses. So this GMAT rather. So GMAT will comprise mostly of quantitative numericals basically, and verbal, depend on the combination, depends on the company, comprehension passage, all of that, complete the sentence, synonyms, antonyms. I don't know if they still do synonyms and antonyms, but yeah, they used to be there before. Some people wrote this year and they were complaining that a certain bank gave them cost and log. So you can imagine that kind of thing. What you want to do is go on Nairoland, join WhatsApp group. From those groups here, you can ask for past questions. I don't know how people get these past questions, because this test are proctor, this test are, I don't know, but at the end of the day, these past questions, do they actually help? Yes, they do, because sometimes you have some of these companies repeating some of these questions, so they actually do help. For most of the tests that you have, for some companies um, it's organized by what's the name, Dragnet. right? It's organized by Dragoness. Some maybe workforce and all of that, but yeah, it's organized by it's usually outsourced to an external party, especially for the test online. After your GMAT test, some company you use this psychometric test, biometric test, just to check if your values aligns with theirs. Away from that, you also have people who give office check your proficiency with a Microsoft Office. It means sure you just have a screen that says, "Oh, draw a table." It could be Word and they say draw a table, right? All this kind of thing. It could be Excel and let's say create a column or save this document. So just as you're taking the steps, I just want to see that you know how to do it. It is as basic as you can have it. It is very, very basic. Very, very basic. It means that you must have some sort of knowledge to be able to do those things. So when you say you know Excel, so you have Excel, Word, and PowerPoint. Those are the three that I know they're very focused on, except the recruitment has specified certain skills specifically. It's like you going for maybe it's an entry level, but you've been told that it's a coding, maybe for software engineering or something, and you've been asked to that maybe you have at least a year of experience coding. It's very possible that you go there and you're being asked to write a line of code or something. Definitely not Hello World, but yeah, is it possible? That's my point. Yes, it's very, 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 very possible. Now that's the first step. There are various other kind of tests. Depend. So this is the first from companies to companies. There are other kind of tests, but that's usually just the first stage. For most companies, it's online CBT. Right. Very rarely will you see a company ask you to come to a center, but that does not mean it doesn't happen. Before it used to be very, very physical. When I say very, very physical, like you go there, you see the crowd of people, you see the people that you're competing with. Now I know that a lot of companies now do online tests. Um, yeah, that's it for the test. I'm sure everyone's very familiar with that. Now, when you do that, another kind of test, when you do that and you pass that GMAT test, the next one you will likely have is an actual interview. Now, for this interview, most of the questions are very, very direct because it's assumed that you do not know anything. They're going to teach you, you do not have experience, you're very, very green. So your questions are going to be, they are usually more generic, not easy, usually more generic. Things like where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you industry trends, because they want to know that you might be unemployed, but have you been reading? Are you the studying type? Are you aware of what's going on in the industry? They could ask you questions about Nigerian economy, your strengths, your weakness, and of course, the very first question when you come to such an interview is, "May we meet you?" or "Tell us a bit about yourself." It comes in various. They ask those questions in various ways, but at the end of the day, it's about you talking, telling them about yourself, your name. It's not time to start saying your address, your number of people in your family know. Just basically your name, your keep it professional, right? What you studied, school you attended, sometimes what you graduated with. I like to say if you graduated with a first class or a 2-1, especially a first class, you might want to blow that trumpet. Believe me, it's an entry level job. A lot of people are applying. So, yes, I believe you can blow that particular trumpet, especially for entry level job. Blow it because you want all the advantage you can get. Okay. So, after that, talk about the things you've done. Yeah. Some people might also ask you questions based off of what you've done in school, what you've done in life, maybe volunteering experience and all of that. They might ask questions around that. If you have those on your CV, be ready to sort of defend them because you might be asked questions around. If you've maybe done a project, you might be asked questions around that. But if you've not done all of those, yeah, it's just direct and all of that. But the thing is, the more maybe you've done a volunteering job, you've done a project in church, a personal project, and all of that, it sort of puts you in a better light. Why? Because you're able to identify ownership skills, leadership skills. From what you say, you're able to mention a thing or two skills that they need, all right? Because nobody wants to employ liability. Nobody wants to employ liability. We all, even your employer, even if they're trying to fix you somewhere, they want to employ someone who knows what they are doing, who can be taught, someone who is teachable, right? Who has the right attitude to work, and someone who aligns with the business value. Nobody wants a liability, basically. So, with all of this, you're being asked questions around that. How you answer also matters. Believe me, your first interview, since you're getting out of school, your first interview might be terrible, so terrible. It does not mean they won't call you back because they understand understand, right? But it still doesn't mean you have to go there wanting to be terrible. It's just that things happen. Okay, so it's not like you're going there saying, "Oh, don't worry, it'll take me a second." Prepare as much as you can. Some of these questions over time, if you do your first interview, second interview, you realize what I'm saying, that all these questions are questions they keep repeating. Yeah, sometimes if I ask you a question you do not like, you do not want to answer, as much as possible, try to remain calm. I remember someone asking me what kind of animal you are at one interview, and I wasn't having it, right? It happens even to experience higher, so not just to graduate training. I'm saying that expect different kind of question. Go online and search for interview questions for a candidate or for an entry level job without experience. Interview questions for, so you see an answer, so you see a list of questions that you're likely to be asked, and you will see answers, how, if you don't see exact answers, you see an approach as in how to answer them, and you can employ those skills to sort of craft your own answer, rehearse, go for the test, and do well. Now, after all of this, these interviews are just so that they can keep cutting people, because at the end of the day, if it was a physical one, you would have seen the number of people who are applying, so you understand what they are going through. But it's not a physical one, it's online. It still doesn't mean that a lot of people, in fact, it now means that you have more people applying, right? So they have more people to look through, so they keep cutting, keep cutting, keep cutting onto the final stage. So at the end of the day, you guys might be, max that you might have, max at a stretch will be 40, and 40 on its own is even a lot. It's even a lot. So from all the number of people that have applied, maybe over 200, they just need like maybe 20 or 10. Some even just need like 5. Okay, so they have to stream down as much as possible. Now, with all of that, after that, maybe they call you for documentation, or they call you for next level interview, second level interview, but it's not still more than the interview, right? Some will give you case studies. It's possible there's group presentation, um, put you guys in group where you guys have to now do a presentation on a particular topic. Yes, those things exist. I forgot. They do exist, like an assessment center. They do exist as well. But good thing is, if you are writing like a bank test and all of that, you can go online to find out how the previous year was. Talk to people. Maryland is your friend. Talk to people, and you're able to see what happened the last year, and you're able to prepare for the next year. Now, if you're writing something like maybe a McKinsey test, some use games. I think Henneken International, even Bev International, the international graduate training programs, I think they play. There's this game that you're required to play. Now, while you might not be able to practice, you could go on YouTube, type the name of the company, type the name of the test they sent to you in your email, and you see someone would have created, would have simulated the game, and you're able to see an example, also teaching you what to do, how to approach the test, so you can do that. A very common game that you would see, I don't know what company uses that, but a very common game. This is not even only for graduate trainees. This is also for experience, certain level of experience higher. Maybe still experienced, but still categorized as an entry level. But a very common one you would see is moving the horse, the dog, the cat, the jackal, where they say the dog eats this. The lion cannot be eaten by anything. This eats that. So you have to ensure that you move all of them to the last point without having them eat each other. Yeah, it's such an interesting game. There are a lot of them like that. Such an interesting game. By the end of the way, you finish playing and you think you've succeeded, you might end up getting getting a regrets mail. Okay, so you go online, go on YouTube, and you get all of that. Now, so let's say you've done all of that, including the test maybe that I did not mention here, but you've done all your tests. Maybe you did, maybe you failed. Don't worry, pick yourself up, apply for others, use that energy for your other tests that are upcoming. Now maybe you passed and your next level is getting the offer. Your offer will be an offer for admission into a graduate trainee program where you'll be paid a stipend. If you want more about this, I have other videos that you can watch where you pay the stipend, maybe 50, maybe 100, maybe 150, depending on the company. And it's usually a class scenario, some 3 months, some 6 months. Within that period, it's usually 8 to like 4 or 8 to like 5. For some companies, it's physical. For others, it's virtual. I don't know if people still do virtual because After COVID, maybe 3 years, as of last 2 years, some companies are going physical already. So you have the physical one, you have to go there. Some will feed you at the venue. Um, I think most would feed you when it's physical. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, but that's not our point. Okay. Um, Now that offer you've gotten usually comes offer into a training school usually comes with a bond. The essence is that if you go to the academy, the company will be spending a lot of money on you, an actual lot of money on you. So they're asking you to stay bonded to them, binded to them. Anyway, they are tying you down to themselves with a bond, saying, I'll train you, but when I finish training you, I want you to stay in employment of the company for 2 years. If you do not stay for 2 years, you have to pay the company a certain sum, 1 million, 1.5, 2 million. So maybe your bond is for 2 years. It means that if you leave after 3 months, you're going to pay 1 million. 6 months, 1 million. 1 year, 1 million. A year and 6 months, 1 million. Some companies take it very seriously, some not so much. Right? They just want you to actually stay. The goal for most companies is not the money, it's the talent. They've trained you, they need you to work for them and not take their trainings and your talent out. So it's more or less seem like a waste of resources. But the truth is, a lot of people have applied to a lot of graduate training programs. At the end of the day, they have like 5 offers, or they have like 2 offers, and they're already in one before the next one comes. So you see people leaving, potting from one graduate training program to another. It's a very common thing. I've heard a lot of people be like, I'm in this company, but I think I want to go here. So it's a very common thing here around now. So that's it for the bond. The training, what does the classes look like I said, it's usually Monday to Friday, 8 to like 4, 8 to like 5, like normal class. Things like financial modeling, business communication, etiquette, um what you would normally have, banking and finance, maybe teaching you about banking, principles of accounting, simple things that you should know, right? Some of them are not entirely simple, like company valuation isn't simple. But basically, because it's majorly run, saying this from a banking, a financial industry perspective. I'm not sure that's the same thing you would have with the likes of consulting, because those guys will be more into audits, so they will have to teach them the basis. Yes, they'll do a bit of finance because, of course, finance, accounting, and then teach them other things that relate to audit, right? So for the other banking industry, which is common, you have all of this business communication etiquettes as well, how to use fork and knife, because you will not be a liability to the company. You will not know everything you need to know and then go for a business dinner only to maybe pick your nose, pick your hand, or drop your bag where you're not supposed to, or use a napkin to wipe your face when it's supposed to, those kind of things. So basically just teach you how to act in a corporate manner at an official setting, right? Maybe at dinner with the clients and all of that. So you would also be required to write exams at tests at the end of each. Maybe this week you did principles of accounting. At the end of the week, you prepare to write exams. Some, I think, will do their test after each class, right? And for you to get fully employed, some require that you have an average of all your tests, maybe an average of 80%, an average of 90%. Some do not require an average. For every course you've written, you must score 70% and above, right? For some of them. So you need to understand what you're getting yourself into. You need to understand what pass looks like to the company so you're very well aligned. Okay, it's usually an interesting one. It's usually amazing because you get to also meet other people, right? It should be an amazing experience because of the kind of people, the setting, and all of that. But I don't think that would make it less easy. I don't think that would nullify the hardship you would go through, because learning on its own is not easy. Okay, so you write those tests, you pass. Graduate training programs usually 3 months, 6 months. Some will tell you 1 year. For some of them, the classroom training is 3 months while you go into the job, and then you're doing a job rotation. So basically, you sit within different units, and for each of those units, you're learning what they do, what work looks like, how they do the things that they do, and all of that, so that you're like gaining practical experience, like the same way you do fellowships, internships, and all of that. That's what it is. But it doesn't mean that when you go there, sometimes you end up not doing job rotation. You're just thrown into the wind, like, oh God, we've been waiting for you. Come and do your work. Okay, while some you have the opportunity to go around. Um, so after training school, oh, things to note about training school. Some training school they have best graduating student, they have best students per subject or per courses that was taught. um what else, a lot of people want to do well because they want to be posted to treasury, or they want a particular department, and hopefully if they do well they would be granted that wish. Now, would you be posted to the department you want? For certain companies, you are asked where do you want, where to maybe pick three or two places where you would like to work. All right. For some of them, they're being thrown into the wind. For some of them, it's only those who carried first, like first one, two, three, that are being given that consideration. So it really just depends on the company. But what I would advise is just the same way we have with the corporate world. One thing that you want to do is to articulate your needs, right? They might not listen to you, but you don't want it to be said that you did not even speak. You didn't speak up or they didn't know. So when you get there and you posted it anyway, or during time of posting from training school, you would articulate, ask questions, emphasize that this is the department that you want to be. You might not get it, but good thing is you've articulated. And even when you're posted to a unit you don't want, do your best along the line. When there's an opportunity in the units that you want, speak to your boss, speak to the hiring manager for that team, speak to your boss as well, and also be doing courses so that when it's time you are ready, it's not then they tell you to come and apply and nothing on your CV depicts that role, right? Okay, so we're digressing. But then again, there's always opportunity, there's always movement, opportunity to move within. That's what I'm trying to say. So prepare yourself for that opportunity if you're not given the role that you want. How do I feel about the bond is another question a lot of people have been asking. It's not an easy one, but I don't think you'll feel it that much if you're doing what you like, if you're working with a team that you like, you're doing the job that you want to do, you are in the units that you want to be in. You might not, it might not be so, it's not so terrible because believe me, it's just 2 years. It comes by really fast. Yeah. For some people, it is terrible, especially when you're not reporting to a good person, your manager isn't a good person. Really, you're already, or you're in a toxic environment, you really need to leave, but you cannot leave because you're bonded, all those kind of things. But it's a consideration that only you, it's a decision that only you can make for yourself. And that's it. Like, you are the only one who can make that decision. Tell yourself, I want to do this, or I do not want to do it. Now, after your training school, you're given another offer, right? Your offer is now for employment where you would work, and then you would be confirmed after 6 months. So generally with every employment, whether graduate trainee, entry level, experience hire, whatever, when you're employed on a probation, there's a probationary period to see how you perform. Is usually 6 months. After 6 months, you're granted full employment, right? It's the same thing. So when you're given that full offer, you are now being, you've now come into the company. You're not going to work for 6 months again, and after 6 months, you are under probation. Now, most graduate training offers are not non-negotiable. I've never heard, because it's usually fixed. You've come in through a system, right? It's usually fixed. I've never heard anybody negotiate, but never say never. But I don't think it's negotiable. I don't think any company want to listen to you about the negotiating salary as a graduate trainee because they've spent on you. They feel like, come and work for us, come and work, and we'll pay you still. So yeah. So it's usually not negotiable. If you want to know how much banks pay consulting firms, I have a whole lot of videos dedicated to that as well. Um, but what I would say about that video is a lot of companies, when I did that video, right, companies had an increased salary. Right now, companies have increased their salaries, so it's a different ball game. So for some of those things, you might be adding as much as 200, as much as 100, as much as 300. Oh God. But would it be for graduate trainee though? But yeah, a lot of companies have increased their salary, so maybe just be adding like 150. Yeah, a lot of companies have increased their salary, so there is a lot more difference right now. So it's higher for some. For some of them, nah, not so much. Now that the offer has landed, what does it feel like being in employment as a graduate trainee? Most companies carry their graduate trainees on their head. They are seen as the alpha and the omega, the ones that have come to solve every problem that the company is facing. And with graduate training, because you've gone to training school, the company believes that they trained you. It's like seeing somebody who attended a private school, somebody who attended government school. You can easily tell, this person attended a private school. When you look at the person, you'll be like, this is giving Babcock, or this is giving CU. It's the same way with training school. So they believe that you've passed through a system, you've passed through their own system, they've been able to imbibe their values, their culture more than any other employee who just walks in through maybe normal employment. They've been able to drill you, imbibe the culture, like soak you inside your culture. So you are like the alpha and the omega, very respected. They expose you to a lot of opportunities to learn, a lot of things you'll be doing sometimes and not are way more than what someone who was just employed as a graduate trainee would do. Someone who was just employed through entry level would do, right? So they kind of, when they say you use a shuka to carry load, right? It's the same thing with graduate training. They carry you on their head. It does not mean that within a company, yeah, if you're going to a company that has a lot more older people, it's a mix. Some will feel like you're coming to take over their jobs. Some will be aesthetic to have young people come work with them. Yeah, so you have it's the same corporate. So welcome to the corporate madness where it's a mix of good and bad people. But more importantly, how you grow is very well determined by your boss. If you have a good boss, amazing, amazing for you, because some will give you a soft landing, some you get a hard landing. You would make a lot of mistakes, but I tell people when you make mistakes, ensure it's not costing both you and your boss. Ensure it's not costing you guys your jobs or your reputation within the company. But would you make mistake? You make mistake, bah. Even normal employees make mistake. Who are you? So you make mistake. But if you're working in a place, for certain places, a lot of people are very well willing to help. You're a company asset. Away from other employees, you're a company asset. So people are willing and ready to listen and help you. It doesn't mean that you should take it for granted. That's the thing, right? It doesn't mean that you should be a slack employee just because, no. It just means that you have people willing to put you through things. If you have any question, please, please, and please ask questions. It's how the corporate world works. Ask questions. Don't There's nothing like a stupid question, even though there is though. But I tell a lot of people, Google is your friend, especially when you are new. Maybe you go for a meeting, they're talking about KPI, you've never heard it before. As you're in that meeting, have a notebook where you are writing KPI. They talk pagination. Oh yeah, pagination. They talk about debt to equity ratio. Write it in a book. Write everything you can think of. Write it in that book. When you're done, go back, go and Google and search. See, you might even be posted to a unit. They'll teach you Excel also in training school, Excel, PowerPoint, and all of that. But one thing with Excel is that if you don't use it every day, you would forget. As simple as count if is, it's only something that people do not forget because you use it from time to time. But if you do not use Excel every day, it then becomes a problem. All right. You will now have to start searching, you now have to start you'll be stuck at a lot of things. But that is why Google is your friend. Go on Google and in the most crazy way search it how to check what is in one document one document. Google will always give you an answer. Like I say, Google knows it all, right? A lot of people there, Google knows a lot of things. Google is your friend. Whether you're new to the corporate world, you're old to the corporate world, Google is your friend. So you might have imposter syndrome. I have a video on my channel that talks about imposter syndrome. You might feel that you're not doing well, you might feel that you're not doing great. Again, a lot of us in the corporate world, I like to say, sometimes do not know what we are doing. A lot of times we are gambling, we are doing trial and error. We believe that it would work, right? And some of the things you see your seniors doing, or even some of your peers are doing, it is because they have maybe done something similar. They have that experience, they've learned from their previous mistakes, which is why you ask questions from them. You are green, you're new, maybe you do not even have an experience to bank on, you're just building your experience. So ask questions from people who have done it, let them put you through, and know that you're not a mumu just because you don't know it and they do. They have more experience, they've done the stuff, they've made the mistakes, they've learned from it, they had people put them through as well. It doesn't mean that everybody will be nice to you. Everyone cannot be nice to you in the workplace. Some people will hate you for no reason. Some people would dislike you for no reason. In fact, the very air you breathe, your sneezing, everything about you would irritate them in the corporate world. That's why they said. That's why people say they are not your family, right? They're not your friends. You guys are colleagues. It doesn't mean you wouldn't make friends in the workplace as well. See, it's just like your normal everyday relationship. It's just like your normal relationship in church, right? That's how you have variety of people working. Even with company rules and all of that, you still have a lot of messy situations, messy things going on. So don't forget. I hope this video sort of helps you. I don't think I am missing anything, but if I am, do ask a question in the comment section. So I see a lot of people ask me, "Oh, I got into Polaris. Do you think Polaris is better than UBA? Do you think UBA is better than WEMA? Do you think WEMA is better than Stanbic? Or should I take?" I think you should ask people who have actually gone through graduate training programs. Ask in the you can ask in the comment section. You see a lot of people respond. There are also WhatsApp group where you can ask these questions and people would respond to you as well. People would respond to you as well in the whole comment section and on WhatsApp because they've had that experience, they've gone through it. I have a video on my channel where I also asked that questions and people gave their if they liked their job. And I had mentioned also in that video how you feel about your job is very well dependent on the environment, the people who you are reporting to as well. It's just as important. If you're working, if your team, you might be in a company that is not toxic, but your team is toxic, all right? You will not enjoy it. And if you're giving a feedback, you give feedback based on your experience. It is why you call two people from the same company, and one might be displeased, and one might be just a pleased and happy employee. Okay, so you might not want to use people's experience to judge. You might also want to pray, and pray hard. Okay, anyway, that's it for this video. If you do have questions, please do let me know in the comment section. I would be there, I would be listening, I would be reading, and I would be responding. Okay, I hope this helps someone out there. If you have not been applying, please do apply when you see graduate training programs, okay, for various banks, companies, and all of that. If you have applied, I wish you success in everything that you're doing, and I hope that you're able to launch your career through this. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thank you so much for coming onto my channel. If there are other videos that you would like to if there are other videos that you would like to watch or you like me to do, please do let me know in the comment section. I saw a request about government organizations, charity, voluntary, and all of that. I am still researching. That's quite difficult because a lot of people who go through that route do not like to give feedback. We are in Nigeria, and you know what I'm talking about. They do not like to give feedback. So, but we're still trying to see what I can do around that video because I usually like to get people experience because that's the only way we can sort of put context to things rather than just normal general research. But anyone I'm able to get, I'll let you know while when I make the video. All right, if there are others, please let me know. Thank you so much for coming into my channel. My name is Chimaka Okebo. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.